welcome back to my channel and welcome to day 11 of Bookmas. Oh my gosh, we're on day 11. We're almost halfway there. Not quite, but almost. I would say we're even almost halfway to Christmas. So exciting. To get kind of close to 12, I thought it would be fun to do the 12 Days of Christmas tag. So this is a tag by Lizzie Loves Books, and it obviously has 12 books here, or 12 recommendations, or 12 like questions. That's the word I'm looking for. And I will put the questions down below and Lizzie's down below if you'd like to check that out, and make sure that if you guys are interested, you do this tag as well. But without further ado, let's get into it. I think I'm actually gonna go backwards. She goes from 1 to 12, but in the song, like, you count down. So I think I'm also going to count down. So the first one is 12 Drummers Drumming, and that is supposed to be your favorite read of the year. We still have 1 month left, or the rest of December left, so I might read a book that I love more than this one, but I believe that this is going to be my #1 book of the year, and that is Daughter of the Moon Goddess. This is my Fairy Loot edition that I just find absolutely stunning, and this is by Sue Lin Tan, and this follows a young girl who has been born of the Moon Goddess, as the title says, and this is actually forbidden. The Moon Goddess is in exile and is not supposed to have anyone there with her except for one servant, so she has been hiding the fact that she has a daughter until one day the government comes to investigate, and so she sends her daughter off, and the daughter has to live as a human, and there's like a love triangle between the prince and the general of the army, and there's deception, disgrace, evil is plain as a scar in his face. No, I just really love this book, and I can't wait for Heart of the Sun Warrior. So here we go. So we had 12 Drummers Drumming. 11 Pipers Piping is to pick a book that features music or incorporates music somehow, and that is Kingdom of Beck. This is by Marie Lu. It's a standalone, and we are following the sister of Wolfgang Mozart, and the sister gets kind of scammed, I guess you could say, by a fairy. It has that whole theme of be careful what you wish for, because she has grown up in the shadow, I guess, or yeah, the shadow of Mozart. So she wants her own story and her own fame. Once he grants that, maybe it's not something she wants so much after all. So this was a really cute little novel, and it obviously features music because both of the characters are musical players. Next is 10 Lords A-Leaping, and for this you have to pick a leading lad that is your favorite. I find this very hard to pick, but I settled on a few, not just one, a few. First we have Nikolai and Kaz from the Grishaverse. I love those two. Wylan, honorable mention. Jesper, honorable mention. Basically all the men in the Grishaverse are leading lads to me. And then of course we have Tristan and Seven Cade from Crown of Feathers. And finally we have Finnick Odair from the Hunger Games series, specifically Catching Fire. So those are my leading lads. Next is 9 Ladies Dancing, which is a kick butt or kick A female lead. When they put the word kick butt in there, it completely changes my answer for favorite female. So my favorite kick butt female would be Ren from Bonesmith. This book has actually not been released yet. It's a book by Nikki Palpretto, and it follows a young girl who is a bonesmith. So she has the power to she's a reaper, so she kills off ghosts and uses bone knives and bone dust and all that good stuff. And it's such a fun horror / fantasy novel, and there's enemies to lovers, and it's pitched as Game of Thrones meets Gideon the Ninth, and I just love it so much. And Ren is definitely kick butt, so stay tuned for more on all of that. I would say her, and then honorable mention to Tella. She's not necessarily kick butt, but she's one of my favorite female leads in Caraval. I just relate to her a lot, and I think she's a lot of fun. And I think she has that aspect of like being kind of kick butt, but also feminine, which I really like. Next is 8 Maids a Milking, a book that takes beverage slash food to the next level. For me, my first thought was With the Fire on High, because we are following a young girl who wants to be a chef, like a star chef, and I think this naked cover is so cool. It's got food on it, but our character is a senior in high school and was pregnant and has had her child, so she's a single mom trying to finish high school, trying to become a chef, and just trying to balance like motherhood as well. So I think that this takes cooking and food to the next level, because the descriptions in here of food are so cool and so good. I think there's actually a recipe in here, but I could be lying. Yeah, I don't think that the recipe is actually in here. This is a really, really good book regardless. Next is 7 Swans a Swimming, and for this you had to pick a favorite animal sidekick. For me, that would be Appa from Avatar: The Last Airbender, which I am counting because there is Avatar books and graphic novels.
It's an older coaster, but it checks out.
So for me, it would be the Flying Bison Appa. He is the best side character, animal, kick, whatever you want to call it, possible. So number 1 for me. I love him. 6 Geese a Laying is to pick a book with your favorite world building or just world in general. This one was hard for me, but I think I'm gonna go with Crown of Feathers. It was actually not that hard for me. Crown of Feathers definitely has my favorite world, and I don't even know what I was trying to say, but it was hard for me in the fact that I wanted to use Crown of Feathers for so many things, and there's probably a place that actually fits better, but I couldn't think of a better book of world building than Crown of Feathers, so it's going here. And I have something else where this would have fit better. I didn't want to duplicate answers, so you'll see what I'm talking about in a couple minutes. Crown of Feathers is definitely my favorite world building. People have said that it's quite info dumpy in the beginning, but I personally think that it's awesome. It breaks down even like what animages eat, because animages are people that can connect with animals, so it talks about how they're vegetarians, or if they're not vegetarian, kind of what they do. It just breaks down beautifully every like little thing you could think of, and I love it so much. So please pick up Crown of Feathers. That is all I have to say. Next is 5 Golden Rings, or your favorite villain slash antagonist. For me, I don't know, it kind of feels like the Darkling, but that feels like such a cop-out. And then we have like Kingdom of the Wicked, which has some cool villains. There's just cool villains all over. I think I'm gonna go with the Scythe series though, because in this trilogy I feel like it's a different antagonist throughout each book, and I feel like each antagonist is really interesting in their own respects. So I'm gonna go with the Arc of a Scythe series. If you haven't heard me talk about this before, this is following a utopian world in which people can only die if they are chosen by the Scythes, just under population control. And we're following 2 apprentice Scythes who are trying to earn their Scythedom, or whatever you want to call it, and they are on opposing sides. Whichever one earns the chance to be a Scythe will then have to kill the other. But they're friends, they were friends first, so there's just like this odd dynamic going on, and I think it's so cool. And there's an AI in it. Love this series. Next is 4 Calling Birds. For this you have to pick a favorite series. This was hard for me because I don't read a ton of series over 3 books, and one of the other questions is like, what's your favorite trilogy? So I felt like I couldn't say a trilogy, so I finally thought of a series. I can't believe I hadn't thought of it earlier, but the High Republic Star Wars series for me is probably my favorite series. I'm in love with this world and Star Wars in general. Now that I think about it, this could have competed for the favorite world building question, but I'm still gonna go with Crown of Feathers, I think. But this is my favorite series, just like the High Republic arc in general. I love these characters. I love everything about this series, and it really drew me into Star Wars as a whole. And I've been doing that whole Star Wars, like, what's it called? Chronological read from like start to finish. Now that they're coming out with the prequel to the High Republic, I'm like, oh great, now I have to start over. But I do have to read the prequel High Republic series to the High Republic series. So there's like the High Republic, and then there's the High Republic pre-High Republic, but still High Republic, but pre all the stuff happening here. So just love this series. Highly recommend if you are a Star Wars fan or if you're looking to be a Star Wars fan. As I mentioned, one of the other books is a trilogy focus, and that is for Three French Hens. Name a favorite trilogy. This is the one I was talking about in which Crown of Feathers probably would have fit better. Crown of Feathers is my favorite trilogy. Hunger Games is up there, Arc of a Scythe is up there, but I talk about those three all the time, so I did want to mention a different one, and for me that is the A Darker Shade of Magic series. This is book 1 of the French edition. I just love the artwork on it. Shades of Magic is following Kel, who can travel between different Londons because the Londons are on like a multiplanar portal. I don't know what you want to call it, but he has the magic and this cape that can help him travel between different London or worlds. And there's Grey London, White London, Black London, and Red London. He is from Red London, the world rich in magic, and he befriends a female from Grey London, which is essentially our world, and it's just like stripped of magic. So that is kind of the trilogy answer I have for you. Then we have Two Turtle Doves. What is your one true pairing? I'm so awful at this. I could not think of one. So I'm just gonna go with a classic of Kaz and Inej from Six of Crows. They are beautiful together. I love them together. Nothing ill to say towards that. So they are gonna be my one true pairing. And finally, we have Partridge in a Pear Tree for number 1, which is what is your favorite standalone? I would have to say this one was also somewhat difficult for me because I was like, what are standalones? Like, what standalones have I read? What's my favorite? Because I tend to read more like duologies and trilogies, and I figured I would go with House in the Cerulean Sea by TJ Klune. This is just a really heartwarming novel about a man who's a social worker and goes to a special case creature place in which he is doing social work for some interesting people or interesting creatures. One of them is the son of the devil. So it's an interesting book. It made me laugh, it made me cry. I love it so much. So that is my favorite standalone. But that is the 12 Days of Christmas. I hope you guys enjoyed this tag, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye, friends.